Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast, Just Delphine Knits. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome. If you're new, please subscribe to my channel. You will make me very happy with that. And just for everybody, if you like this video, press like or leave a comment. This is a special episode all about needles, so it's not classic what I finished, what I'm working on, and what I'm plan working on, but it's a special episode. If you want to watch the other ones, of course you're welcome. Today I want to talk about needles, and I will start with where I started, which is with straight needles. For the first ones I will show you. So these are my very first needles. These are bamboo needles. I just bought them at the local shop. They don't have any brand on them, but they're not straight anymore because bamboo bends when you put a lot of weight on it. And I have made some sweaters for my husband with these ones, and so yeah, they are bent after a while. But I do like bamboo, so I still sometimes use them. After that, I only have two pairs of those actually. After that, I mainly used prim needles. I have them, some of them here. Like for prim, the smaller ones are metal, and the bigger ones are plastic. I do prefer the metal ones, but I understand that you can't make really big ones and metal either, so that's no issue. And then a few years ago, I discovered the needles from atelier Veritas, um, which are also metal needles, but they're like coated, I think, and they don't slip that easily. So for slippery threads, this is my preferred needle. I do have really cheap needles as well from Zeeman. Those are needles I just bought like when I was on a holiday and I forgot my needles. And I must say, you know that they are cheap and that they don't work as they should. So I wouldn't recommend them either. So just stick with something that is maybe not the most expensive, but also not the most cheap option. Then when I was knitting on straight needles, I did use circulars, fixed circulars. I didn't know that anything else existed. And this is one example. I just use this for hats or for like a coal or something, or a neckband of a sweater. And I must say, like every prim one I have had really bad joints. So I disliked them, and you always needed other lengths, other needle sizes, so it was quite expensive. The less expensive ones from Zeeman as well, they broke just like the cable broke really easily, so I don't like those as well. And actually, that was the reason, because I didn't know that you could actually make a garment in the round. That was what I did know about the colors, etc. So that was the reason I asked my mother-in-law for Christmas for a KnitPro Symphony set. Or actually, I just asked her about a set of interchangeable circulars, and she gave me this KnitPro Symphony set. It's not a new one, she used it before, but she didn't use it anymore, and I was very happy with it. I really like knitting with this. These are actually wooden needles with lots of nice colors. They feel pleasant in my hands. You can buy a lot of other sizes apart from this set. The only disadvantage is that the size of the needle disappears after a while after using it. And so I had a mix-up with my husband's zipper sweater. I thought I was knitting on 5.5, but on one needle, the one I was knitting with, of course, I used a 5. In the end, the stretch was enough, so it still fits him and it's fine, but it could have been an issue with other yarns. So that's why I'm now being really careful with using those needles when I need multiple sizes in one garment. But that's an advantage of KnitPro. You can actually use any of their needle types on the same cable, so you can mix and match. And I did buy, just opening my pocket, I did buy some zing needles. and zinc is metal, but they have a color which depends on the needle size. So you're really visually seeing that you're taking another needle size. So I like to use those. They are more slippy than these wooden ones, so it really depends on the fabric or on the yarn I'm using, which ones I prefer. But that's a real advantage for KnitPro. You have a lot of different cables. Um, a lot of people say that these cables aren't the best cables. That might be true, but they're also not the most expensive ones. And I have them in all sorts of sizes. This is a longer one. Um, this is a shorter one with my 3mm needles on it. So yeah, I have plenty of them and I really like them. I discovered that there are even more types of knit pro needles, like you have also really short ones to knit sleeves, which would also fit on these circulars, as on these cables, so I might look into that as well in the future. I learned this from Iris from Iris Makes. So yeah, I will look more into the knit pro ones for sure. Next to my KnitPro ones, I invested in HiyaHiya needles. This was bought from money I got from my grandma which she gave me for my PhD. I really like them. I needed sharper needles, and these are sharp needles, but they are expensive and they keep on being expensive. So for HiyaHiya, and that's also the case for Chaigu, which I don't own, and apart from that, I don't have an opinion about it. But this is a small set which fits on the small needles. This results in a better joint of the cables to the needles. But so the small needles fit on the small cables. That was what I wanted to say, and the bigger needles fit on the bigger cables, and that gets quite expensive because um, I'm a small needle person, so I knit mostly on 4.5mm needles, and recently also 3.5. But now and then I want to knit something on 7mm needles, and then I would really need to buy specific cables or adapters for that. So then it gets quite expensive, and that's the advantage. With my Knit Pro, everything fits on everything. And apart from that, there were no cable stoppers in this set, which in my Knit Pro set there were cable stoppers, and if you buy cables for your Knit Pro, you get cable stoppers. They're not fancy, but they work. Whereas for HiyaHiya, you have to buy them separately. They're really nice ones, but they're €8. So yeah, they're quite expensive. And I think even though they are pretty, the ones from KnitPro are better in stopping the cable. So that's a disadvantage for HiyaHiya. Um, it's better, but it's really expensive. So if I would summarize my interchangeables, I would prefer KnitPro because you, for the same money, you get more, and it's easy to get extra things on your set as well. Also, it's more easily to have a shop nearby that owns them. So that's also what I wanted to say about that. Then I also knit socks. For socks, I started on DPNs, and I have a set of KnitPro Zing. It's really good value because I bought it at Hobby during Black Friday sale. And here as well, they have different colors for the needle size. So I really like them. I don't have an issue with knitting on DPNs, well, apart from now because of my hand, but normally I like DPNs. But recently I learned to knit socks magic loop as well. Oops. And this is one of them. Um, so these are my 2.5 millimeter needles for magic loop for socks. The joint isn't perfect, so I might buy eddies or Chagu fixed circulars in the future for socks, but they work. So I will see. Maybe I ask them for my birthday or something, and then I can give an update on this later on. Next to that, I also have a small circular needle I use for socks. It's not my preferred method. It's one from KnitPro as well, by the way. It's not my preferred method, but it's easy to do. It's easy to use in a meeting and do some mindless stockinette during a meeting. So that's my preferred meeting way. Otherwise, I would doubt if I prefer DPNs or like the magic loop method. I do have a Adicrasi trio in my stash now to use and to try, so I might give an update on that later on as well. Concerning DPNs, I previously had this type of DPNs, which is from Prim, and I dislike them for socks. I don't mind for other things like sleeves or something, but they have like a point which should be ergonomical, and that's true. But for socks, you have a denser gauge, and then I had a broken tip already because they're plastic and they can break. So I dislike them for socks, but I don't mind using them for uh, other objects, well, other things like sleeves, etc. I'm looking around and I see that I forgot to mention two things, and that's one. I forgot to show you my HiyaHiya needles. Actually, I only showed you a needle case, which was pretty, but these are the needles, and then you have the points. And I forgot to mention that I also tried, and this is on my Hibernidal actually, I also tried the drops ones, which fit on my KnitPro cables. They're cheap, and I wouldn't buy them again. These ones are fine. I don't have any issues, but I bought a second pair, and they have like a certain damage at the point, and they don't work as I want them to work. So I prefer having my real KnitPro needles instead of these ones. So I will not buy them again. So that's everything I have to say concerning needles. Although this is not a normal podcast, I just want to mention what I'm wearing, which is my weekend slipover of Petite Knit. This was my very first pattern I made in the round, and I have made it with Apilou Tweed from Veritas, which is an acrylic yarn, but it's one of my most favorite acrylic yarns. I love working with it. I love wearing it. It was a little bit cold this morning, so I'm wearing it with a long sleeve top underneath, but I can just wear this to my bare skin, and I might do later today because it will be a really sunny day. So thank you for watching. If you have any other subject I need to cover in a special episode, please let me know, and I hope to see you soon with a normal episode as well. Bye!